What's going on? Little Dap, it's Jared Bonds, former pro and founder of OnlineSoccerAcademy.com here. I want to do a video today on how I became a pro soccer player, a pro footballer. A lot of players ask me all the time about this. I always give advice on how to do it, but never really talk about how I personally did it. So just want to share with you guys. It'll be a couple-minute video. It's unscripted and just coming from the heart here. And just want to share my story, and hopefully it's a bit of inspiration for you, and enjoy the story here. So I grew up in Louisiana, started playing soccer at 5 years old, and was just having fun. At around 11, I got really into it and said I was going to be a pro soccer player. This was back in the late 80s, early 90s, and I had no idea where I was going to play pro soccer. MLS wasn't around back then, but I knew I wanted to be a player, and I worked hard, I trained, I tried to get better every day. I used to watch the Manchester United treble video. It was like a highlight video from their 1999 year when they won 3 championships. It was on VHS. I watched it almost every day because there was no YouTube back then, and I just studied plays and how Giggs made runs and goals and what they all did, and just really studied and tried to get out in the backyard and make that happen. Now we have YouTube and the Online Soccer Academy and these other things, but that's what I was doing, and eventually got my way into college soccer and went to a tournament with some scouts were there, and didn't really know anything about recruiting, and I had 2 options for schools. One was Central Florida, one was Lynn University. I chose Lynn University. It was a Division II school, but we had all these older English guys on the team, and they were great. I learned so much from them. But yeah, I wasn't the best player when I got there, but I improved a ton, and I was one of the top players on the team when I left, and did really well. And kind of around my junior year, I was like, all right, well, no one's going to come find me, so how am I going to get to be a pro if no one finds me? I go to a Division II small school. We won a national championship. We were good, but pro scouts weren't watching us. They were watching the top D1 teams. So I played on a league in the summer called the PDL League, Premier Development League in the States. Played for a team in New Orleans, and they're supposed to groom players to help them go pro. And some teams do a great job with that, and others, you're just playing. There's no scouts coming to watch you. So one of the guys on the team was older than me, and he was like, would you like to go train with Dallas Burn, which is now called FC Dallas? And I was like, yeah, I would. This was in the summer of my junior year going into college. I was like 20. And so his dad used to own a lower league pro soccer team in New Orleans, and his dad, one of his old coaches, was the coach at Dallas Burn. And it was kind of a knew someone who knew someone type of deal. And don't think, oh, you knew someone, that's how you got in. That's not how it works. You still need to be good. You still need to back it up. But networking and making friends certainly helps. So the dad makes a phone call for me to the Dallas coach. And he puts in a good word, and he's like, here's this player. He's really good. I think you should give him a few days to practice and see how he does. Lots of times pro teams will have college-age players come in to practice and see how they do. And it's their way of scouting them a bit. So I get a phone call from the coach in Dallas. I'm cutting grass, and my phone rings. I turn off the lawnmower. I'm like, hey, coach. And he's like, all right, well, Mr. Pate put in a good word for you, and you can come out. You can stay for the week. If you suck and aren't good on Monday, the first day, we'll ask you to leave. And if you do good, then you'll stay. So I get there the first day. Clint Dempsey was in college at the time, and he was in the practice scrimmage that I was playing in with him. I played left back. I got an assist. I did good. I got a little confidence up, and then I had a great week of training. I scored goals. I got assists. I did not look out of place. I looked good out there. And that gave me a lot of confidence to know that I can play at that level. And then the following summer, that was summer going into junior year. The following summer going into senior year, I trained at Dallas again for 2 days, and I also trained at the Chicago Fire for 3 days. And I did really good at Dallas, and I also did really good at the Fire. Scored a bunch of goals in training, and so I was like, all right, I'm good enough. I'm good enough. Now what? So I'm going through school, and the MLS Draft comes around. My name isn't called, and nothing happens. And I'm like, well, that stinks. And the thing is, I didn't even know if I was in the draft choice or not. I had no idea how it worked. So I was like, all right, well, let me let me call up the Dallas coach. So I was mainly after the head coach, I was dealing with an assistant coach. I called him up, and he's like, Jared, this was like early December. He's like, Jared, I'm really glad you called. You're one of the players we want to add to our roster this year. We want to sign you as a pro. I'm like, are you kidding? He's like, no, I'm glad you were on my list. We're going to sign you, leave school, get ready for preseason. So I hang up the phone, I start crying a little bit. I'm so excited. I was walking on my campus at the time. I was like, my dream's coming true. I'm going pro. This was amazing. And I had planned all my classes to get my hard ones out of the way so I could take online classes my final semester so I could go anywhere, try out anywhere, and finish up college. My grandparents would have been really mad at me if I didn't. So I go home. I'm getting ready for preseason. I'm doing 2-a-days, 3-a-days, just really busting it. And it's about time to go to preseason. I call the assistant coach, and he goes, we don't need you this first week. We'll need you the second week. I go, okay. He's like, we got some guys that we're looking at. We already know what we got out of you, but everything's good. We'll see you next week. I thought that was a little weird, but I was like, all right, what do I know? I don't have an agent. I don't have anyone telling me anything. So I kept training, kept getting ready. Second week comes, same thing happens. Now I'm like, this is not good that he is not letting me come into training. Third week happens, I call. He calls me back, leaves a message saying, sorry, Jared, we don't need you. If you want to come train, you can come train, blah, blah. I am fuming at this point because that was not right. I totally got screwed over and, just crushed. I called the Chicago coach that I've been dealing with, one of the assistants there, and he was like, that's not right. Sorry, we don't have any spots on the team for you, but, good luck. And, yeah, just like that. I'm out of options. I'm not in school. I'm doing online classes. I've been training so hard. So I ended up going to Dallas just to train, and hopefully I could change some minds. All we did was fitness for 2 days before the team left for Spain. And, of course, I was fit. But, yeah, didn't get asked to stay. And then my other option, the next option that came about was to try out for a team in Rochester, New York, which was about 20-something hours from me in Louisiana. And this was for not an MLS team. It was, at the time, called the A-League. Which is NASL now, I believe. So Rochester Rhinos, they have an open tryout. You had to pay to go to tryout, $350. And if you made the team, you got your money back. And the coach of the team was like, if you make the team, preseason starts right away. And I remember thinking, all right. And there was another guy I knew who was going, and his mindset was, I'm going to fly there. If I make the team, I'm going to drive back and get my stuff and go back for preseason a few days late. My mindset was kind of like, there's no if, I'm going to make this team. And if I don't, then I'll deal with it then, and I'm going to have one great road trip coming home because I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. So I pack up my car with everything I own. A friend of mine had just gotten back from Iraq. He was serving overseas. I was like, hey, buddy, you want to go to Rochester, New York with me? We get in the car. We drive like 20 hours to New York. I'm all set. I'm in. We start, the camp opens up. You get 2 shirts, 1 pair of shorts, and like 2 pairs of socks. No laundry. 3 practices a day, and they're like, you got to do your own laundry. Where am I going to do laundry in a hotel room? I don't know. So first night comes out for the training, and the coach is this English guy, which I loved, and he was like, if you suck, we're going to ask you to leave. If you are good, you'll keep moving up the ladder, and we'll go from there. And I'm like, yes, bring it on. So I go through the tryouts. I'm doing great. I keep moving up the ladder. I'm playing great. Second day into it, I get a phone call from that dad that used to own the soccer team in New Orleans, and he says, Jared, where are you? The Chicago Fire are calling about you. I'm like, I'm in New York trying out with the Rhinos. He goes, we'll call Daryl, one of the assistants at Chicago Fire. Call Daryl Shore and ask him, talk to him. Call up Daryl, and he's like, Jared, where are you? I'm like, I'm in Rochester. He goes, we're really, our right back isn't working out, and your name came up, and we want to bring you into preseason. And I'm like, well, that's amazing, but I'm with Rochester right now. And he's like, all right, let me talk to the head coach and get back to you. Now I can't sleep. I'm playing great. All of a sudden I went from no options to potentially having 2 options here. Head coach calls me. We talk a little bit. I speak to the assistant coach, and I'm like, listen, am I coming in? Is there going to be like 30 other guys there or what? He's like, between you and I, It's just you. It's your spot to lose. And if you do well in 2 weeks, we're going to sign you. And the head coach said, if you make the Rochester team, call us back. We'll figure out what we're going to do, but we'd love to have you. So essentially, I end up making the Rochester team. I go have lunch with the coach. I have to tell him I've decided to go with Chicago over them because my thought process was it'd be much better to start at the Fire than to start in the lower league. If anything were to happen, it would be much easier to go down than to go up. I got back in the car and drove 10 more hours to Chicago, and I get to this super fancy hotel. People are doing your laundry for you. I get an envelope full of cash for per diem money. It was amazing. And then I played really well and made the team, and I signed pro. It certainly wasn't the traditional route to signing pro, but that's my story. That's how I did it. Career got cut short by injuries, as most of you know, which is fine. It's all part of it. I got no regrets. But at the end of the day, that was my dream. That was my goal. That's what I worked harder than anything for, and that's what I wanted to do, and I did it. And I didn't know it at the time, but I had that believe in it attitude and that mindset. And it wasn't just self-belief. It was hard work and nonstop improvement. So I really hope my story has inspired you a little bit and just gives you some inspiration. And if you need any advice on going pro or playing in college or playing high school varsity, use the Online Soccer Academy. Watch our videos. That's what it's there for. I wish I had that growing up. Our website developer, he wishes he had that growing up. Our other guy on our team, he wishes he had that growing up. Most pros I talk to, they wish they had that growing up. So, enjoy the Online Soccer Academy. Enjoy YouTube. Enjoy SDR Skill School's videos. All these other resources out there for you. Because it's an exciting time to be a player in the world with a dream. And, that's my story. Good luck to you, and